So welcome again to another session for database management. So before we proceed with our lecture for today, I'd like to provide you with the correct answers for last week's activity. So ito yung binigay ko. I gave you, last week I discussed about SQL Select, which is used if you would want to view the records in a particular database of a particular computer system. So, yung binigay ko na example dito for our activity is that I gave you one table with the name table student, and I have here 5 attributes: student ID, student first name, student last name, student course, tapos student year, right? So for this one, I have here, I think, 10 questions. And as early as now, I'll tell you number 10 and 11 are bonus questions because they are in preparation for our next topic. So for number 2, we have it here. Create an SQL, an SQL select query that displays the student ID numbers only. So since yung gusto lang niyang ipakita ay student ID, yung tinawag lang natin is yung column ni student ID, which is here. So select student ID from table students. That's for number 2. For number 3 naman, yung gusto daw niyang ipakita is yung first name lang ni student. That's why I have it here, select stud F name. Yan yung name ng column kung saan natin makikita si first name. Okay? And then, respectively, we call the table student because that will be the reference. And for number 4, we have it here, display daw lahat ng last name. So that's why I only called student L name. Okay? Please be reminded na hindi magmamatter if you will write your query in uppercase or lowercase. It will still be the same. Okay? So for number 5, yung gusto niyang ipakita is ang listahan ng course ng students. So yung tinawag ko na column is si student course only. Diba? Medyo madali lang siya. For number 6 naman, ang gusto daw niya is yung last name ng student, tapos yung course, tapos yung year. So tatlo. So tinawag ko dito sa query natin, you have here select student last name, student student course, and student year. So itong query na to will display the last names of the students, their course, and then of course their year. Okay? And then for number 7, sabi daw niya, display mo lahat ng student ID together with their full name. So, yung tinawag ko is si student ID, student first name, tapos si student last name. Okay? And then for number 8, you have it here, select student ID, student course from table student. Bakit dalawa lang? Because ang sabi sa ating question is that mag-display lang daw ng student ID with its corresponding student course. That's why dalawa lang yung tinawag natin. Now, for number 9, sabi daw niya, pakita mo yung current year ng estudyante, pero ipapakita mo lang yung last name. So, yung tinawag ko is the student year, tapos yung last name ng student. Okay? You have it here. Select student year, comma, student last name from table student. So, actually, from initial checking, most of the wrong answers of your classmates are coming from not putting comma after another or after calling another column from the table. So please be keen to details because any missing comma will make it an error. Okay? So for number 10, actually bago ito. So it's just a preparation for our next topic. So number 10 uses another SQL. So aside from select, we also have where. Okay? So if you would want only to filter, so you use SQL Where to filter results from the table. So dito, finilter ko siya na ipapakita lang niya is si BSIT. Yung mga students who are enrolled in BSIT program. So if you will try to use this example, if I will execute this one in the computer system, si number 10, yung lalabas lang na result is only one row. Ito si Benten, kasi si Benten lang yung BSIT. Tapos on the second example, or on number 11, we have it here, display daw yung students who are under midwifery. And obviously, midwifery is only si Meredith Gray. Okay? So those are the answers for our database management 01 activity. Okay? So for those who got it correctly, congratulations. For those who have some mistakes, don't worry. We still have a lot of activities. Okay? So moving on, let's now proceed to our next agenda. Yung dalawa nating itatackle for today. We have it here SQL Where, and then the second one is SQL Distinct. So just a reminder, just like what I told you, I will be using this website as my reference because this website, W3 Schools, who are providing us with free materials for SQL or for database management are standards. Kumbaga, they follow the standard of database management. Okay? So let's start first with SQL Where. Okay? So in simple terms, where is used when you would want to filter records and rows in your database. So kung gusto mo na, like for example, you have a list of names, student names, and then gusto mo lang ipakita yung mga na-enroll sa HM. So yung gagamitin mo is si where clause. Okay? So by definition, sabi dito, the where clause is used to filter records and then it is used to extract only those records that fulfill a specified condition. So, ibig sabihin, if the record does not satisfy the given condition, hindi siya ipapakita. So, ano ba yung syntax niya? Same lang din. Select and then the columns that you would want to display and then make sure to provide the correct name of the table after the word from, and then that's the time. So, after the name of the table, ilalagay mo dito si where tapos si condition. We have it here. Note, the where clause is not only used in select statements. It can also be used in update and delete, which will be discussed later part pa. Okay? So for example, we have here a database of customers. Okay? So try natin dito. So if you will click this one, actually yung good thing ni W3 Schools is that meron silang online database wherein you can try it. Okay? So for example, ito. So on the right side actually of the, what they call this one, on the right side actually of W3 Schools, you would see here the table names. Okay? So right now, what we are using is the table customers. So if you will click this one, actually, table customers has 91 records. Okay? Meron siyang 91 records, ibig sabihin 91 yung rows na available niya. So, if you notice it here, di ba 91? And then gusto mo lang, like for example, sir, gusto lang naming makita yung mga customers who are, like for example, you are providing a condition na yung gusto mo lang makita is from Germany, okay? So, yung gagawin mo is that simple lang, okay? So, display natin lahat para hindi tayo mahirapan. Okay? Select all from, yung name ng table is customers, di ba? Please be careful with the correct spelling kasi yung iba pag check ko, correct yung SQL statement pero yung the way they spelled the table is not correct. So, it's incorrect. So, ibig sabihin mali din yun. So, select all from customers where, ayan, dito napapasok si where. Si where condition will be our filter. Okay? So, later on, i-discuss ko kung ano pa yung ibang condition na pwede mong gamitin. So, after typing where, you need to select from the columns. Like for example, how many columns do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 columns. And then, one of these columns will be my basis for my condition. Okay? Like for example, gusto kong ipakita only yung mga customers na may name na Antonio. Okay? For example, so you have it here. So tawagin mo muna yung column, okay? So for this example, si customer name is equivalent to Antonio daw, okay? So ito din another also na what they call this one thing to remember is that if you will provide a condition for a particular column tapos yung condition niya or yung ipapahanap mo sa kanya or ipapafilter mo sa kanya is a string or a character or a word, you need to put a double quote on it, okay? So if you will run this one, so you click this one, you run. Yan, no result found kasi wala man tayong customer. So it means na walang customer na yung name niya is plainly Antonio lang, okay? So for example ito, ipapa-display lang natin si Alfred's Ito na, si around the horn na lang, around the horn. So, I'll just copy this one. Okay. So, pansin nyo, si database management or yung pagtawag sa mga, what you call this one, pagtawag or pag-filter sa kanya, it's quite case sensitive. So, pag hindi talaga siya nag-satisfy sa given condition, hindi niya ipapakita. Okay? Yan. So, pwede ring all capital or small case yung pagkakalagay mo sa where. It's still the same. Okay? Make sure lang na same lang yung ano mo. Okay? Yan. Example ito. Run natin. Ayan. Di ba? So, ayan na, wait muna. So, from 91 records, gusto ko lang makita or i-check if nandito ba si around the horn sa table. So, pag ipapatakbo ko ito, di ba, pansin nyo, from 91, yung number of records lang niya is 1. Okay? So, what are the other conditions na pwede mong gawin? Okay? Sa where na clause or SQL where. So, in SQL where, you look first or you identify first the columns, okay? For example, si customer ID, numbers. So, pag numbers, wala tayong double quote or wala tayong quote na ilalagay. So, if it's a combination of a number and a word, yan, lagyan natin ng double quote. Okay? Let's remember that one. So, for example, kanina I gave you an example na word, diba? So, for example, gusto kong gawing filter si customer ID. So, since it's an ID and then pansin nyo naman na format niya is in numbers, so pwede nang hindi lagyan ng double quote. So, for example, gusto kong ipakita yung customer na may customer ID na 11. Okay? So, if I will run this one, yung ipapakita lang niya is si customer with an ID number na 11. Okay? Yan yung purpose ni where, para siyang filter. Okay? So, aside from the equal sign, ayan. Aside from the equal sign, you could also use this one. The symbol is what you call greater than. This one is less than. So, let's try to have greater than. So, ibig sabihin, ipapakita niya dito, so, or should I say, this SQL statement, when executed, will display all the records whose customer ID number is greater than 11. Ibig sabihin, ipapakita niya yung record starting from 12 up to 91 because that's greater than 11. Okay? Ayan, di ba? If you notice, 12 hanggang 91. Okay? So, what if naman, sir, paglagyan natin ng pag less than naman, sir? So, pag less than, yung mangyayari is something like this. Ayan. If you notice, wala si 11 because hindi kasali si 11. 10 is less than 11. Kaya yung 1 to 10 is yung ipapakita lang niya. Okay? Sir, what if gusto namin ipakita including si 11? So, dito napapasok si greater than or equal to. Yan. Greater than or equal to 11. So, if you notice here, ayan, kasali na si 11. Diba? Kanina hindi kasali si 11. Tingnan nyo yung pagkakaiba ha. Pag greater than 11, wala si 11. Pero pag may equal symbol, kasali na si 11. So, how about pag less than? So, pag less than 11, ayan, 1 to 11. Pero kanina, pag walang equal symbol, hindi kasali si 11. Okay? Another also symbol na you need to remember in what they call this one, whenever you are doing SQL where is this symbol also. Not equal. Okay? So, it means na lahat ng records na ipapakita niya lahat ng records maliban kay 11. Ayan o. Diba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pansin nyo, nag-skip siya. Okay? This symbol here, the exclamation point with an equal symbol, means na ipapakita niya lahat ng records maliban kay customer ID na 11. Okay? Hindi niya ipapakita yung record ni customer ID 11. Okay? So, yan yung purpose ni SQL Where. SQL Where is for filter. Okay? Now, I hope you understood. Pag may question, write your comments below sa comment section. I'll be happy to answer it. Okay? Now, let's go to SQL Distinct. Okay. Si SQL Distinct naman, ayan, let's read first the definition before we proceed with our example. Okay? The select distinct statement is used to return only distinct or different values. So, alam naman natin na in a database or in a group of records, meron talagang duplicate dyan. Like for example, same lang ng country, same lang ng address, or same lang ng street, di ba? So kung gusto mong malaman kung ano yung mga unique values, like for example, gusto mong i-count, like for example, what are the countries mentioned in this record, you can use SQL Distinct, okay? So you have it here. Inside the table, a column often contains many duplicate values. And sometimes you only want to list the different distinct values, okay? So for example, dito, okay, let's try to have an example. So again, ang purpose ni SQL Distinct is for you to identify ano yung mga unique values, okay? So use natin again si customers. So if you notice, di ba? If you notice it here, yung mga the same values niya are under, di ba? It could either be under the city or under the country or eto, di ba? Or even the contact name. I don't know. So, try muna natin because it's very obvious na pabalik-balik si Germany, di ba? So, try natin i-identify kung ano ba yung mga countries, di ba? We have 91 records, remember? Ano ba yung mga countries na na-mention dito sa records na to? Okay? So, balikan muna natin yung syntax. Again, yung syntax is yung format kung paano mo gagamitin yung SQL statement. So, yung, what they call this one? Yung syntax or format niya is that you just add distinct, okay? So, if you notice it here, now, select distinct country. So, ibig sabihin, if you will or if I will explain this one in simple terms, yung select distinct dito or yung select distinct na gusto niyang i-filter, di ba? Or gusto niyang i-identify is that what are the unique countries inside the customer table. Okay? Again, if I will explain this statement, it would be as something like this. What are the countries or what are the countries under customer table? Okay? So right now, let's try to demonstrate that one. So yung example kanina is that, or yung syntax, sabi daw dito, is that you type first distinct. So again, be careful with your spelling. Okay? Select distinct country from customers. Tama ba ako? Yeah. From customers. So, ibig sabihin is, this SQL statement will then combine those duplicate values, like they will be grouped, okay? Like for example, si Germany, di ba? Ano muna natin? Like for example, let's try to select muna the country. So if you notice, you have 91, di ba? Si Germany, like manually, I will count it grabe. 1, 2, di ba? 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. Okay, you have 10 records showing Germany as their country. So, if I will put this thing here, look what will happen. Okay? Look what will happen. Si Germany is magiging isa lang siya. Okay? Wala nang ibang Germany. Okay? So it means, if you notice it here, may numbers dito, may number of records. So it means na out from 91, you have 21 unique countries. Okay? Ibig sabihin nitong 21 is that ito yung mga number of countries na it could either be unique or may duplicate value siya. Okay? So again, yung purpose ni distinct is that it will just identify the unique values in a given table. So for example, maraming let's try to see let's try to see if meron bang kaparehas ng if we have what they call this one sa city naman. Let's try to have the city. Okay? So select muna natin si city. Okay. Select all. Sorry. Ayan. Ayan. So, same lang din. You have 91 records with different cities. But let's try to identify. I think meron naman siguro, yeah, like for example, London, 'di ba? You notice it here, si London, it's mentioned many times. Okay? Ayan no. 'Di ba? Many times. So if we will try to use SQL distinct after the select statement. Ayan. After the select na keyword pala. Ayan. So, from 91, naging 69. Ibig sabihin, there are 69 unique cities that are mentioned in the table. Okay? So, yun lang yung i-discuss ko for today. Okay? So, if you have questions, you can write it down or you can comment it down below. I will appreciate it very much. And then I will answer it. Okay? So, thank you so much for joining me today.